Council. County Commissioners meeting to listen to proposals from nonprofits of Jefferson County. We'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Susan, you're first on the agenda.
So thank you for supporting our girls annually. I just wanted to give you some highlights. I gave you some materials and hopefully you had a chance to go through just to tell you some of the growth that we've had over this last year. But everything that we do at Girls Inc. is mission driven. So all of our programs are around our strong, smart, and bold mission, and our so it's healthy living, academic enrichment, and supporting life skills. And so all of the programming that we do, whether it's center-based or outreach, is based on those three pillars. But you can see in the letter that where we've really exploded is outreach. And I hope you're excited about that because that means we're reaching more girls out in the county. And you can see the numbers, our Girls Inc. To Go program, which is, oh my gosh, I forgot to bring my visual aids, which is a bag of STEM activities, STEM related activities, and girls get those every week. And for 6 to 8 weeks. And then every week they get a new one. So it's something for them to do over the weekend and they get a snack. We added, I'm excited because I believe you said, I hope you come back next year and you're reaching Southwestern, and then we
I saw
actually,
them here.
we
I see
actually,
it twice on here.
yeah, we actually included, Southwestern girls come to our center every day because we go get them and bring them. But we were able to, partner with Southwestern to do our Girls Inc. To Go program. And then, we also had an opportunity to do a pilot program, which is Girls Think Outside the Box. It's really a higher end version of our Girls Inc. To Go. So during COVID, we came up with Girls Inc. To Go. Girls Inc. of Colorado, who had a lot of resources, have these really fancy boxes and they hand those out. So we were able to pilot that in Southwestern, and Canaan girls were able to take advantage of that. And then also something new this year is that we are bringing in a group of girls from Deputy every Tuesday. So they come in on Tuesdays and do a day of programming with us, and then they go back out. We take them back home. So that also is something new. Let's see. So, and I gave you a 2023 in review just so you can look at that. Our to-go program is pretty well explained, and we don't just serve Jefferson County now. We were able to go into Switzerland County, and we actually were able to go into Trumbull County a little bit with Girls Think Outside the Box. But just in case you're worried that we're not tracking people's time and spending Jefferson County money out in another county, please rest assured that we track those hours. And in fact, we were lucky enough to get a Bethany Legacy grant that funds outreach. And we were able to purchase a van to help with that. And Vanzilla, as the girls named her, is not allowed to go outside Jefferson County for 3 years because she's funded by Bethany Legacy, and that's strictly Jefferson County. So we're very mindful of the fact that those dollars are meant to stay in Jefferson County. Well, I have said she is not ruled outside the county too. I did bring one other additional thing that Susanna just got done, and I'll just pass them around. But this is our June newsletter that's going to go out to donors, and we'll send you an electronic version so that you can send it out. But I wanted to give you guys this just so you can read more. We got a Bethany Legacy grant strictly focusing on outreach. So, but I wanted to tell you about outreach because I wanted to let you know some of the things that we're doing. But also our center-based program, that is what we come to you for today. And the budget that I put together is really around center-based programming. Girls from all over the county come to our center. Our programs do not happen without people. So, people are included in this, but it is strictly our, part-time staff who, are the least expensive of the staff that we have. But I also put our organization's expense of what it costs to do our school year program so that you can see what that actually costs. And then, so what we are asking, you to consider is the, school year part-time program staff and the program supplies that go with that to do our center-based programming. And, knowing that, it's not just girls within the township or the city of Madison that do those programs. And then, hopefully, if that's something of interest to you, but that is why I included staffing, because if you have program supplies and there's nobody to do them, then it really doesn't make any difference. So that's why, we included that. So I think, we just requested, $9,000, which is a portion of that budget. And, so hopefully I've given you plenty of information, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
The total daily attendance is 1.2. Is that correct?
For what?
For your.
No, that was to go. That was our Girls in to go program.
What's
So,
your
so the
total?
total, our daily membership varies from, 75 to 80, 75, 80.
Daily,
Mhm.
and then your total membership, how much?
Our total membership last year, I believe, was, about 325, something like that. Yeah. Our membership has jumped about, COVID hit everybody, and membership has jumped about 10 girls a day. So we're building that back up, but the building can only take so many, we're at capacity at some point, so, yeah. And this is just actually, we're asking you to pay for one activity. There are lots of other activities that go on during the course of the school day. So. Any questions?
Y'all used to do a 5K down there, and that kind of went by the wayside. Did that quit making any kind of with?
So I'm just here, I don't know, Heather may differ. Races really don't make money.
They do not.
Okay, I didn't
don't
think
make
it did.
They're
Um,
not
I didn't think
Christmas.
No, they don't, and it was, we went to a different model of
Okay.
raising money, and, so we only do two events. One is mission driven, which is our luncheon, and then we do, resales in the, fall. But, the rate, we were doing, I think, 4 races a year, and it was just killing everybody, and we weren't making the kind of money. And really, the only reason you're supposed to do an event is to draw people to your mission, and that's not what those do. So those people were not turning into donors. They were just enjoying the race.
Sure.
But yes, so those were good times, and I don't think we'll be the ones doing races anymore.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whitney Robbins. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. I haven't met everyone, but I'm Whitney Casa. In the letter that I had shared with you guys, I talked a lot about the increase in children who are entering foster care in Jefferson County. So tonight, I wanted to give you some numbers to just for clarity on that. So from October the 1st, 2023 to yesterday, 80 children have been removed from their homes in Jefferson County. Prior to these 80 children, my small staff of 4 and I and 15 CASA volunteers already had a caseload of 57 children. So with this rapid increase in new detentions that absolutely has not slowed down, and I don't believe is going to slow down, our program had to evolve very quickly in order to provide legal representation to all these children. So we created a strategic plan, more like a supplemental strategic plan that would be executed in 2 different phases. And we have already began to implement the first phase, which is recruiting an additional staff member, raising funds to cover their payroll, FICA, training, office furniture. And we also hosted 2 additional CASA volunteer trainings, which comes obviously with marketing expenses, supplies, training materials, etc. So we are increasing our staff and volunteer base in phase 1. This August marks the third volunteer training for 2024. And we typically only host one a year because they are 5 weeks long and it is very cumbersome for my staff and I. Because I teach the classes, so finding 5 weeks 3 times has been tough, but necessary. So with those 3 volunteer trainings, we secured 17 new advocates. So from October to present, we went from 15 CASA volunteers to 32. And then we went from serving 57 children to 73. And we currently have 37 kids on our list. We actually received 2 kids today who were detained. So all the funds associated with all of that have been raised. So the second phase of this plan is what I'm requesting your help with, and that is to improve or upgrade resources within our building to improve our efficiency for these kids for the next 1 to 5 years to come, because I hope that you're aware that when we do get these kids, we are with them throughout the entire life of their days. So we need to hire a contractor to install a new phone system in 6 rooms of our building, in addition to purchasing the actual business phones. I mentioned in my letter that at times we're unable to even answer the phone at this point, and we certainly cannot call each other office to office. And then we wanted to purchase 3 new laptops and install Microsoft Suite on each of those. Now, 2 of those laptops are for current staff members whose laptops are going out of warranty, but all 3 will need the Microsoft Suite, Office Suite installed. And then lastly, and due to the increase in staff and children, we need to purchase a second printer and fax machine. So all of this stuff comes very close to $6,500. And you know, we've been talking to contractors because it's just us 5 women. We are the ones cleaning the toilets, painting the building, you know, making repairs as we can. And so we've had to reach out to contractors on behalf of all of these things. So any funds left over, we would put toward marketing our CASA volunteer training. That is going to be set for February. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Okay, so you said, how many children do you have in the system right now compared to volunteers?
There are 107 children in the system as of today.
Okay.
And we have 32 volunteers. Yeah, so we're overburdened. You know, it wasn't always like this. We had not had a wait list of children for 4 years. And right at the beginning of Q4, DCS really kind of doubled up on ensuring child safety, and so did the legislature, actually. I don't know that statute off the top of my head, but basically the question is, I have meetings oftentimes with the chief counsel of DCS, and he states that if you ask the question, if DCS asks the question, can I ensure this child's safety right now? And the answer is no, that child is being detained. So with COVID, they were really pushing this family preservation effort where they were trying to put services in the home, not remove kids, all the things. Well, what we have found is there are kids dying. And so they're going back to the old model and doubling up to ensure these children's safety. And unfortunately, Jefferson County does have 105 citizens who are super vulnerable living in foster care right now. And I spoke to chief counsel this morning, and this is only going to continue. This is the new normal since COVID, but to be honest with you, this is what it was prior to COVID. We're used to serving 400 kids at a time. Last year we served 120 total for the whole year. Today we have 105 in our system. So the only thing that we can do is market for more community members to step into this gap with us. So that's what we're doing, and trying to be more efficient with the resources that we currently have. I know that that's depressing. No one likes to talk about that, but that is what it is.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you, Whitney.
That's, two programs, that's a tough act to follow, definitely. I'm Mike Sims, I'm the kindness member chairman. Thank you, commissioners and council, for allowing us to speak tonight. We are wanting to start a program called Kids Care. It's aimed at providing snacks, clothing, and other essential items to children in need in Jefferson County. This program ensures that necessary items are delivered to the schools promptly and confidentially without unnecessary bureaucracy. The responsibilities would be Jefferson County, Indiana schools would identify children in need. They would notify our nonprofit and distribute the items received to the children. Kindness Jefferson County volunteers will procure the items and deliver to the schools and maintain confidentiality and report on the number of children. I can stand up here and speak to you as the chairman of Kindness Jefferson County, but I'd really like you to hear from the school teacher. So I'm going to give her the floor.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for hearing our proposal. Mike asked me to speak about my viewpoint and what I deal with in the classroom. And what I see, why I see this grant is so important to the students of Jefferson County. Now I'm here in my Madison year, okay? Because I teach at the junior high, but I'm talking all the kids of Jefferson County. I've been a teacher for 24 years and I have bought everything you can imagine for my kids, from deodorant to tennis shoes to coats, book bags, toothbrushes, toothpaste. And as a single mom and the economy being the way it is, I can't do that now for 80 to 120 kids. I can't do it. I struggle, servicing my own kids and buying what they need, and I'm seeing the need increasing every year. So that's why I understand totally what you're talking about. School funding is struggling to fund the academic part, let alone what we're asking for. And grants that the school system might obtain are not sustainable. So I'm seeing needs, not wants. As teachers, we're seeing a higher need among our students, and there's food insecurity, trauma, neglect, poverty, sensory issues, poor nutrition, and homelessness. And I dealt with that out of our fifth grade. We had many students that were homeless this year. As a teacher, there is something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like a triangle, you can imagine. And at the base is basic needs: food, shelter, clothing, sleep, food, and water. And that's why I think this grant is so important about providing snacks and water to these kids. Madison has embraced a program called TBRI, Trust-Based Relational Interventions Model. And this helps teachers support youth who have experienced trauma. And one of the principles is, empowering principles is address basic physical needs. And so physical needs, once they're addressed, we can help children's brains, bodies excel by eating protein-rich snacks every 2 hours. And drinking water consistently, because a hydrated brain is a better thinking brain. And students who are constantly hungry, or we call hangry, because we get that way too, are thirsty, struggle to focus, have headaches, stomach aches, low energy, and fatigue. And through this training we received last year, it's very progressive, but the school doesn't fund all those snacks and the water bottles. And so that's why when Mike approached me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what we need. This would provide the water bottles for students. Some kids can buy Stanleys and they can bring a water bottle every day. But if you're homeless and you're getting kicked out of a hotel room in the middle of the night, you're lucky to grab your Chromebook. That's what they tell me. I grab that first because I have to have that. And so backpacks, clothing, water bottles are not what they consider a necessity at that time. So this grant would help students have a water bottle, which they can refill at school every day. They would have healthy snacks every 2 hours, which helps regulate their blood sugar. And our principal started a positive behavior incentive called AAA. So when students show and excel in academics, attitude, and attendance, then they're rewarded. And we try to get community-based businesses to help us to build like a positive relationship between the county businesses and our schools. So we're just asking that, if this could happen, it would benefit our students and our teachers. And I think what you're looking at is providing contributing members to society. That's what, they're gonna be future members of Jefferson County. So we're hoping that by making, kids feel safe, and providing, their basic needs, that would pay off in the long run. So,
And this would be for, all Jefferson County public schools, so Madison, Southwestern. I submitted, basically Appendix A and B, how we can keep the confidentiality. The teachers basically would just email us what is needed. And we would get, especially if it's tennis shoes, underwear, socks, we would just get it and get it to them. Becky Miller, our board member, will be in charge of this program if it is implemented, so. Any questions?
What were those three A's again? Academics, attitude,
attitude,
attendance?
Mhm.
Mike, could you give us a role of your accomplishments over the last, since you began the group and what you've achieved?
So when we came to the council and the commissioners last year, we were just the new kids on the block. And, people were still unsure about us. We've secured $85,000 in grants, Bethany Legacy Foundation, Community Foundation. We have the first ever in Indiana mobile sensory room now, and we have used it at many events, and it's been very beneficial. We listen to our community, so when changes need to be made, we make it. We want to benefit the community. We've given 3 free meals at Morning People Cafe. We try to do right before the holiday, and we have the suicide prevention watch up there too. And we fed approximately 120 people at all 3 meals. We are getting ready to have a completely free veterans meal for our veterans at Harry Stone Grill. They are paying for all the food. We've raised $3,000 to buy the veterans a gift bag to show their appreciation, challenge coins, things like that. We're just trying to be active in the community to make positive differences and changes. And we just try to think of things outside the box where areas just aren't always met. And we just look at this and think that it's an area that may be overlooked.
And now, of course, you're a 501c3.
Yes, we are 501c3. We're incorporated in Indiana. We even have a gaming license, so we can do raffle tickets.
Thank you. Aaron?
My name is Erin Thomas. I'm from Lifetime Resources. As you said, these are all tough acts to follow. I'm here to talk to you about sort of the other end of the spectrum, because we are the Area Agency on Aging. And we provide a whole host of different services that is essentially aimed at helping people maintain their independence and be able to stay in their homes for as long as possible. And a lot of times, that's when they might be otherwise facing nursing facility placement. One of the goals that we have is to help people, not just stay in their homes, but also being there is far more cost effective than nursing facility placement or something like that as well. And so you can see some numbers in the letter I provided there to you, where our average care plan cost is around $900, where for a same month stay in a nursing facility, it's getting up towards $9,000. And so what we do is we provide, a whole host of services that are addressing the social determinants of health. So, people will come home with a medical care plan, but we are there to help make sure that if they need assistance with, bathing or transfers or meal prep or transportation or, personal care services, things like that. We also provide respite care for the caregivers as well, because sometimes, the caregivers, it's really important that they think about themselves as well, because a lot of times they get wrapped up in the care that they're trying to provide for their loved one. And then, they can kind of let their own care go by the wayside. And so we have some services for caregivers as well. Respite, we also have, training and things that are aimed at helping prevent burnout and things like that. We also provide Catch a Ride, which is public transportation. It's the one service that's a little bit different because it's available to anyone for any purpose. And so we provide Catch a Ride as well. We have health and wellness programs. We have a guardianship program. We have We actually have a couple of housing facilities as well. I don't typically talk about that because they're both in Dearborn County, but, that may be something you didn't know about our organization. I am actually requesting a little bit more this year than last year. Last year, our request was 15,000. We've increased our request to 20 this year. And the reason for that is because our funding with the city, seems to be on the rocks a little bit, and they have always provided actually greater funding than the county. And in their minds, you know, they've said to me that they feel like that should be flip-flopped. But I didn't want to come and, you know, sort of throw that all on you all. But we did not receive funding from the city of Madison last year at all, and this year they kind of loosely committed to just 10,000. When we were getting, I think it was an odd number, I think it was like 23,850 before. So we're kind of hurting a little bit in that regard, and just trying to make up for it a little bit here and a little bit there. One thing I do want to make you all aware of, because there's been a whole lot of misunderstanding about this, is the state of Indiana is getting ready to transition to something called Indiana Pathways for Aging. Are you all familiar with that at all? What it is currently what happens is for the Medicaid waiver services that individuals receive in their homes, we provide the case management for that. So we determine the nursing facility level of care. We create a care plan saying, you know, that this individual needs X, Y, and Z services to remain independent. We then go out, we coordinate with the providers, and then Medicaid waiver is actually paying for those services. So that's not a service that you have ever, you know, the grants that we ask for from you all are to match our variety of funding sources that we have coming into our organization. But Medicaid waiver is not one that you have ever matched. So moving into this new program, until about a couple of months ago, we had been working for 2 years thinking that we were going to continue in our role. But what happened is essentially the state got involved in the contract negotiation processes, and our rate was going to go from 189 to 112. And we simply cannot do it for that rate. So, the area agencies on aging, almost everyone across the entire state is no longer going to be involved in what's called service coordination. It's somewhat equivalent to case management now. So I did want to let you know that we are losing that one line of business, but it does not change our need for match because your funds were never matching that particular funding source. Also, so I don't want you to think if you hear from people that, you know, Lifetime is no longer or anything like that, we are still providing the bulk of our resources. We're still providing information and assistance, case management for many other services. So Medicaid waiver was just one funding source. What we are actually coming to for support from you all is in relation to, we have choice funding, for example, social services block grant. We have all of the Older Americans Act funding that is the core of who we are as an agency. So that's all your Title III services that relate to, you know, in-home services and home delivered meals and congregate meals. And we are still doing all of that. So I just didn't want you to hear you know, that AAAs aren't involved anymore, because that's simply not the case. It's just that one particular line of service. We're still doing the level of care assessments and things like that. We just will not be doing the case management piece. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that. That being said, we're trying to do everything that we can to make sure that there's a smooth transition for those that we're serving that are going into this new managed care environment. And essentially the changes, you know, currently the state has contracts with each of the 15 area agencies on aging across the state. And moving forward, they will have contracts with 3 managed care entities instead. And so it's in my mind really unfortunate, because we've been doing this work for nearly 50 years with the local trusted providers. And that work is now going to be put in the hands of large insurance companies. So I hope it goes well. We're a bit worried about the transition, but we're doing everything that we can, because we certainly care about these individuals and want to make sure that it's a smooth transition. But it's certainly interesting times, because this goes live on July 1, and we still have a lot of unanswered questions. So I wanted to make you aware of all that. Any questions or anything? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your consideration.
Everybody, I don't know that I've met all of you in person, but now is a good time as any. I have been here almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. And though I did come late in life to Boys and Girls Clubs, compared to some people in the room, this is my 20th year, even though I've only been here a couple. Just to give you some quick Boys and Girls Club statistics. In 2022, we calculate our attendance in two different ways. We have school year attendance and summer attendance. So during the school year in 2022, we averaged 99 kids a day. And and that was sort of just the way it was as I arrived. And we have done a whole lot to build up since then. We've added a lot of staff. So in 2023 school year, our attendance went to 125, so about a 25% increase. And so far this year, although when you take a year, it's kind of half of one school year and half of the other, but we are already at about 140 for the school year. Summer is similar. I don't really count summer of 22 because I was kind of coming in as it was ending. But last summer, we averaged about 64 kids in June and about 45 in July. So that it's about 4 weeks of each month. And this year I've already gotten over 100 kids a day. Our average, it wildly fluctuates. It's really interesting how that changes. But I think we're probably about 80 to 90 so far for 3 weeks of the summer. So that shows you a distinct trend. And what that tells me, in my experience, when you see just attendance gradually climb, that means people are enjoying what services you provide and they're telling other people about it and more people want to make use of it. And so that has gone very well. As you probably know, we were fortunate enough to get two large funding streams, one from the Lilly Foundation and one from Bethany Legacy. And a large portion of both of those grants went into programming, went into staffing and program quality. We have a system that is used called CQI, which is to assess all the programs that you run and to meet with the person running them and to improve them as you go. That's a cutting edge thing that is used by clubs all across the country. And that was part of the Lilly grant that we incorporate that into what we do. But it's also adding new staff members, paying staff members so that you can bring in higher quality, and just making the club a more positive, impactful place for children. And the way you measure that, there's 100 ways to measure it, but the simple way is to see that more kids come, more parents like what you have to offer. Now, that's all the more involved things, and that's not really what I came to talk about today, because as probably all of you have heard about, we used the other large portion of that money to completely renovate a 20-year-old facility. And I will tell you now, one of the reasons I thought this was a very attractive position was it is a great building. It was built to be a Boys and Girls Club, which when you see buildings that weren't built for that, they're always a little awkward. And it doesn't have any of those problems, but it is 20 years old, 20-year-old HVAC system, which I was stunned to find was still running. And just some features that the world has outgrown. Safety is such a big deal now that we wanted to redesign the entryway, because now schools have all done it years ago, and now clubs do it too, where you have magnetic locks and you have kids scan in and you have to take security very seriously. So we are 99.9% of the way through our renovations, and it's very exciting. I'm not going to tell you tons about them because it would take too long, but mostly I'm not going to tell you because we're going to have a grand reopening and 70th anniversary celebration on August the 2nd. So I would love for any and all of you to come. It's just a celebration. No one's going to ask for any money. It's just to appreciate what we've done. And we really are going to do it as kind of two different things, because it is the 70th anniversary of this organization, 1954. The Light White Memorial Boys and Girls Club was formed, although that wasn't the original name.
Jefferson County Boys Club.
Okay, so that was 1954, so we want to honor 70 years, and what a perfect time to also celebrate the fact that we have a renewed building. So not only do we get new HVAC, but we add a new entryway, and a lot, we painted and made the whole place look really nice inside, but we have a new kitchen. And we completely changed the interior. There were 3 different rooms, and now they're all combined into one large kitchen. We put in all new cabinetry. The counters were just going in today. And what has happened with this project is what happens with a lot of construction. From the time you get your estimates and you plot budgets and you ask for money and then you get it, well, that's many months go by. And what happens? Well, estimates change, and then it ends up costing you a little bit more to complete the project than you expected in the beginning. And so one of the ways we were able to just move forward was to cut back the appliances in the kitchen and some of the supplies, some of the games room equipment, pool tables and things like that. So now we have done the bulk of the renovations, but we really want to complete the picture by putting new appliances, nice new commercial appliances into the kitchen, and then also new gaming equipment. And I detailed all of that. I mean, I could list it for you, a range and a freezer, refrigerator, microwave, dishwasher. We might get another pool table. We have a really nice one that really doesn't need to be replaced, but bumper pool and a thing called carpet ball, foosball, all of those things. Because as I wrote in my letter, you have a nice new shiny facility. It's kind of nice to have new equipment in there because older stuff will kind of stand out, and it would be nice to complete that picture. So that's what we're hoping to do. And the price tag for all of that is about $70,000. I am not asking for even half of it. We have applied for money in various places, and all of that some of it has come through and some of it has not come through, or we'll be waiting on that. But in particular, Buffalo Wild Wings has a national partnership with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and they were very generous to help us, which we'll use some of that money for games room equipment. But we really are applying to multiple sources to be able to complete this, particularly by our grand opening. So that's pretty much it for my request. It's very straightforward. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, but since some of the other folks here have talked to you a little bit more about their organizations as a whole and focused on Jefferson County, I will let you know that we serve pretty much every school in Jefferson County. I believe Deputy is the only one that doesn't send a bus to us, but we have 40 plus kids from Southwestern. They have a dedicated bus that does nothing but load up those kids and come straight to the club. We have over 10, maybe sometimes as many as 15 to 20 from Canaan. So those are 2 long rides. And then regular school buses just bring the kids from all the Madison schools. And one of the things that I have 3 basic goals that I think are appropriate for this discussion. And we talked about numbers. Well, this facility, and maybe Ray could give us some insight on this. I think it could hold 200 kids comfortably. I mean, you need staff for it, but it can be done. And that is kind of what my goal would be ultimately. Now, I don't expect that to happen in 2024 or even 2025, but that's where you build up to. And you might not have 200 all at once, because the second goal that is really important is COVID killed our teen population. And that happened all across the country. So one of the national initiatives is to go out and recruit teens and to get them back into workforce readiness programs and do all the things that Boys and Girls Clubs are very good at. So we want to increase the attendance, and in part by having teens, because then they would come later and it's not really an overcrowding situation. And then lastly, some of you might have heard that we have been in discussions with both the town of Hanover and Southwestern schools about the possibility of expanding into Hanover, which is something I would love to do. We are not going to be doing that in 2024, but I think there are possibilities of that as in the future. And we decided as an organization that is a goal for 2025, is to open a club in Hanover to better serve kids. And the only other thing I'd say about that is, if there's 40 kids to 50 every day getting on a bus, that means there's probably close to that many that need those services that are not getting on the bus, because maybe they can't get picked up and taken home. Maybe that just doesn't fit their schedule, or or 100 other reasons why they might do it. And anytime you see an underserved area and you put a new club in it, or at least the ones I have been through, they immediately fill up. And you find the need was even greater than you expected. So, and one last thing, since we did talk a little bit about the kitchen, it's not just appliances that you would be helping to finance, but one of the things we did with this kitchen, we expanded it because it's now 3 rooms into 1. Well, we put in a huge counter space where stools can be set up, and it's designed to be a teaching kitchen, so we could have cooking classes and lots of space for it. And that might sound sort of contrary to what you picture a Boys and Girls Club to be, but if you go to a group of kids in a club and you say, who would like to come with me and go to cooking class, you will get way too many hands raised and kids that will be wanting to jump up and go. And so I think this will be a really neat thing where we built it just for teaching. And I'll just end on that unless anybody has any questions. But thank you very much for listening.
What was your total for 2023? What was your total membership?
It was 675.
Thank you.
And I should have mentioned that, thank you. And I don't know where we stand right now. Membership in Boys and Girls Club starts on January 1, and just if you're a member for a day, it just counts, and we are probably at about 450 or so at this point. You always get a surge at the beginning of each school year.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Right this way.
Oh, no, you're
I was there.
I was looking at you.
Okay, I'm Sarah Brickto. I am the new and former director for the Children's Advocacy Center in Southeastern Indiana. It's kind of hard to say. So I've been on for not quite a month, but I did do the job from 2007 to 2017. So I know some stuff. Stuff's not super current. When I was thinking about what you guys need to know about the Children's Advocacy Center, I remembered that people don't talk about child abuse too much. It's all confidential. It's not really in the paper. You hear some terrible cases when they get convicted. So I thought it might be useful to tell you about a case. And I wasn't going to use one that I remember from 7 years ago because it's old. So I asked the prosecutor if he would join me, and he couldn't make it because he's going to the IPAC conference now. But he did send me a letter, which I have here. I think I should leave a copy with somebody. Do you mind if I get it to you? Anyway, to a letter. On December 31st, 2023, a mother reported to the Indiana State Police that her boyfriend had been molesting her 13-year-old daughter. The mother had located a video on her boyfriend's phone of her daughter performing oral sex on him. In my communications with ISB, Indiana State Police, our goal was to get charges filed on January 2nd, 2024, the first business day of the new year. We contacted the CAC over the weekend, and they scheduled an emergency forensic interview of the victim on New Year's Day. Based upon the interview of the child, we were able to learn additional details of the molestation. The child reported that it began when she was 8 years old and included both oral and anal sex. The child also stated that this man had threatened to kick her and her family out of the house or hurt them physically if she ever told anyone about the molestation. The interviewer was able to get the child to describe specific details, including locations and physical items used during the criminal acts. Law enforcement was then able to corroborate the child's statements with evidence collected from Wayland's residence. ISP was able to locate a shirt and rags in a shed on this man's property that the victim disclosed he had used to wipe himself off after a sexual activity. Additionally, ISP located 2 bottles of anal lubricant in the shed that were described by the child in the interview. The forensic interviewer was also able to get the child to describe an additional location where sexual acts took place. Law enforcement was able to use that information to locate another property in Switzerland County where Wayland took the child. Based upon the strength of the interview and the corroborating evidence, this man was charged with both Jefferson and Switzerland County with child molesting as level 1 felonies. They were able to convict this man on June 11th. Level 1 felony child molesting. He received a 30-year sentence and will be required to register as a sex offender. Additionally, We worked closely with Switzerland County's prosecutor office, and they were also able to obtain the same conviction. The emergency CAC interview in this case ensured that the justice was served after a 13-year-old girl made allegations of child sexual abuse. It was also significant that we were able to obtain a conviction in 2 counties without the need for the child to testify in court, which is it's traumatic for kids to testify in front of their accuser, which is the rights. Based upon the strength of the interview and the investigation by ISB, we were able to rid our community of a sex offender. Additionally, the convictions serve to help the child begin the process of healing from years of abuse. And that's just one of over 6,000 cases we've seen at the CAC since we opened, and one of the 1,059 cases in Jefferson County in the last 10 years. And I just looked at the numbers from 10 years because that's when we opened the satellite office, and that's what we're talking about, this new building. But we see physical abuse, neglect, witness to domestic violence, witness to drug exchanges. I saw one little girl who could tell exactly how to make meth, including going to Walmart and stealing stuff to get the money to buy some stuff. It's amazing. Children are smart. Anyway, that's what we do. And the numbers, I already told you, it's been over 1,000 cases in Jefferson County, and that seems like a lot. It's second only to Dearborn County in our region. There's 10 years of numbers. We serve whoever, there's a lot of different counties here because that's where the people are from. But if it's easier for the children to get interviewed in our places, that's what we do. That's our job. So, you probably heard that we've got a new building downtown, big, beautiful building on West Street with a walking distance from the police department. And with that building, which I can't forget to do this, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony on July 10th. The building won't be operational until after the 22nd, but I'm going to pass these around if you don't mind. You guys are all invited. It's just ceremonial. We'll have an open house, not on August 2nd. Make sure not to do that, but sometime either at the end of July or the beginning of August when we're operational. This is just ceremonial. Just share those. What else do I need to tell you? What I asked for in the letter was to help us with the accreditation costs. According to the accreditation, and I'm just getting into that. This book, there's very high standards for CACs, including why we can do this in the new building. The other building didn't protect the children's safety because we couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't run into an alleged perpetrator in the walls because there's those other offices in the clearinghouse. This is its own standalone building, and we can protect the children. But we also, I'm very excited to report, I didn't think I'd ever see this in my lifetime. We will be able to meet the medical standard. If a child needs a medical exam, it's been very difficult here to get somebody who's trained to be able to examine them. And it's very important for children, especially if they've been penetrated in any way. And so there is a sexual assault nurse examiner at Norton King's daughter who has gotten pediatric training, which is what we need for the medical part of the standard, so we can meet it now. And so that is going to be the next task for me and my very competent staff to seek accreditation. And that's the highest standard you can have for children's advocacy centers in the country. It's really hard to do. And I'm hoping that with this beautiful new facility that you guys will hopefully see in the next few weeks, we'll be able to set the model there in Jefferson County and then get the other 2 locations accredited. I think that's about all I have. I just wanted to also tell you that, like, the way I look at this business is that when people come into the CAC, it's for families, the worst day of their life, for most of them, for good families, it's the worst day of their life. And what we do at the CAC is change it into the day things change for the better. So that's what we do. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. If you do have questions, just get in touch with me. I've got lots and lots of papers.
How do you keep from killing people?
Well, we just gotta do our part to make it better for the kids. That's all we can do.
You're not allowed to say it during this. Gary? See Andrew around. Yeah.
Hello. Thanks for allowing us a few minutes. I know I was in here last year and I think I went over a couple, so I'm gonna try to keep it really short aside from what we've got in our information. I'm with Safe Passage and we provide domestic violence and sexual assault intervention and prevention for 6 counties, including Jefferson. We are just asking for a supplemental, support from all of our local governments, including Jefferson County. We've outlined our numbers here. We served, I think, about 350 in 2023. That's between our residential shelter, our mobile advocacy, non-residential programming, as well as our crisis calls. We served quite a few more through our prevention programming, including at Live Light. I don't know if he is still here, but I was happy to see him here. And we are excited because in the next year, we are preparing along with the prosecutor to train all first responders, bring a national trainer in for domestic violence because he has seen quite an increase in domestic violence cases in Jefferson County. And we are also in communication with Madison Consolidated Schools about making sure that our prevention programming hits every high school student. We've been able to do that in Lawrenceburg schools over in Dearborn County to pilot it. And that provides consent education and bystander intervention information to every high school student. So before these pilots of getting every student the same information, what we do with our prevention programming is we get in with like health classes or JAG classes, wherever we can get in to provide that information. So this is a full school support effort, and we're happy that it's in Jefferson. Jefferson, Ripley, and Dearborn run neck and neck annually with the highest amount of client need. We are fortunate to have an outreach office space in the clearinghouse where we have that staffed with, an advocate that works directly with the prosecutor's office as well as the clients that come in as walk-ins whenever they're filing protective orders, whenever they need any kind of resources. If they're contemplating fleeing, we have a vehicle that we can provide that mobile advocacy to get them to safety. We also work with our law enforcement to meet them out for a crisis call. If they only have a few people on duty, it's hard for them to leave what they're doing and then have another call come in. So we can dispatch, we're on call 24/7 and we're able to meet at hospitals, meet at law enforcement centers. And some coordinate for us to meet. I think she left at the CAC. If there's domestic violence involved, some law enforcement will recognize that and have us on standby even with those CAC interviews. So as I hear everyone presenting, I think what I'm most proud about is that many of us collaborate. I think that's one of the key things that you guys should know is we're in here and we're all requesting things for really good reasons. But when you don't have a lot of resources that maybe big corporations have, we're contacting each other to kind of fill those gaps and fit, those needs. So even presentations like tonight, it reminds us of what's available and how we can link up with who has things that can fill those gaps. We just within the last week received our VOCA award, which is the Victims of Crime Act that funds our programming. And we received about a 14% cut across the state. There was about a 20% cut average. So we did better than anticipated statewide because of the strength of our program, but it's a cut nonetheless. So
we are asking our cities and our counties and all 6 of the areas that we serve to step up and provide a little bit of an increase so that we can continue to serve your residents through crisis response, through prevention programming, through shelter, through mobile advocacy, hospital response, all of those things as needed. And I think I invited you all last year to tour our residential facility. That offer still stands if any of you want to make the trek one county over to Ripley to see that operation. I will keep you guys posted on the dates that we set. I think we're looking with Prosecutor Sutter at October for that domestic violence training for first responders. And when we're in Madison Consolidated Schools, I don't know what their rules allow, but any kind of information or shadowing of the programming that we do, we welcome the community to see, because we understand that it's with the help of your resources that we can do the work that we do.
Thank you.
I kind of have my back to you. I apologize. Do you have any questions?
Any plans on reaching out to other high schools?
Absolutely. So we have a staff of 30 total. That includes 6 part-time. Our prevention team has 6 for 6 counties, and 3 of those are part-time. So we are modeling these entire school efforts just to see how that impacts the rate of change. Jefferson, the Madison's Consolidated would be the second full school effort. We've been in schools for 7 years, here and there in different classes. So a lot of what guides that is funding and capacity of the existing staff members that we have. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Oh, thank you. That's a good one too. Oh, yeah. That's like he's talking. Oh, look at that one.
Austin?
Hi, good evening. My name is Austin Sims. I'm the Executive Director of the Madison Main Street Program. I am just blown away, but I guess also never really surprised at how giving our community is, and having everybody here, shows a lot of that. We have so many volunteers across all of our organizations, and some of these things are a lot heavier than others. So it's just a really great opportunity to come to talk to you all tonight about something a little different than some of my colleagues here have talked about. Again, like I said, I'm the Executive Director of the Madison Main Street Program, coming to you again to request for funds. This year, we're actually requesting for $5,292, specifically dedicated towards the Madison Farmers Market. If you were not aware, Madison Main Street has been managing the farmers market here in Madison for the last 3 years. And a part of taking on that farmers market and the work that we have put into that and community effort, we have since seen that grow. And we've done a lot to try and bring more attention to that and to our community. Just in this past May, we were recently awarded the Great America Main Street Award. So part of that annual report that I passed around to you just now, it actually still calls us a semifinalist because we weren't sure at the time. But since then, we have been named a Great America Main Street after a jury of preservationists and communities across the nation reviewed everything that our organization and our community does. And that's actually the highest ranking award that a Main Street program can receive. So now we're looking at what else we can do and how we can continue to improve our community. And a part of that is, again, reflecting back to the farmers market. So this request specifically is broken out to provide more equipment and education for our Madison Farmers Market manager and team. So this past year, we were lucky enough to add a second full-time person, a program manager, to our office, besides myself as the only full-time staff person for the last almost 5 years, and 20 plus years, honestly. So farmers market, we have a part-time market manager that's there each week, and then a team of volunteers. There's at least 5 to 10 volunteers there every single Saturday if they show up. Sometimes it's just our part-time market manager that's there representing and putting in the work every single Saturday. So this request again is going towards that and how we can improve and make it better. So when we're talking about some logistics, moving wooden picnic tables every single Saturday in 95-degree heat isn't really easy for a lot of our volunteers, especially when we're looking at the age ranges and capabilities of a lot of our volunteers. So some of those things are causing us to reevaluate now that we've had market for 3 years. How can we make it easier for volunteers? Whether it's logistics of the market, wagons, proper picnic tables that we can actually move, pick up by yourself without having 3 volunteers at a time having to walk them into the church. But also the whole point of having those that equipment and those things at market is to get people to stay at the market longer. So that we can either provide that community space for people to gather, have breakfast with their friends and family, provide that opportunity for the vendors to have another sale or reconnect with someone they haven't seen for a while. So the whole point is how can we get people to market and to stay at market longer? So that's where that education piece comes in. There's very few resources within the National Main Street branch about farmers markets, even though majority of Main Street programs across the country manage their farmers markets. So, a part of this will be going towards, again, like I said, that education to go to the largest conference for farmers market managers out west. In the past, our market manager attended virtually, and it's just not the same if you have attended those things. So for the first time, we're hoping to be able to send our market manager there in person next year and again, gain some more insight and education. So like I said, that's what this request is for, a small request, a part of our budget and our annual fundraising. If you have questions about what that looks like as a whole, again, we've provided that in our annual report and hopefully with the documents that we submitted before today. I know this is a little bit more of a lighthearted and fun request, so I hope you all consider it and thankful for your consideration. Just want to say thank you. Any questions specifically?
How many vendors do you provide for in the Madison Farmers Market?
So it's a year-round market. So right now we're in the summer season. So we have, I think right now, not including the pending applications, we have approximately 28 approved market vendors. Now, they don't all attend every single Saturday. Some of them are every other Saturday or the first Saturday of the month or as product comes in. So as you all know, it's that time of year. If you have a garden or have any experience with that, we're hitting mid-June. So tomatoes are here now and they will be here the rest of the summer. So yeah, approximately 28. And as more things are ready to be harvested, we'll have a few more of those annual vendors returning this month and next month.
Are most of them local farmers?
Yes, I would say most of them are local. We have a few that are from the northern Kentucky area and a few that are in the surrounding counties. But they're bringing people with them that are customers of theirs, either from their roadside stands that they're only providing products that Saturday at market when they're making their trip in. We have a really good partnership with the city of Jefferson and Visit Madison, and they pull that placer data and they can see where those vendors come from each Saturday. And it's kind of cool. I can see exactly the same folks and their families are coming from the same areas in the county, coming right down to market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come see us.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Laura, what are you here for? Just a list?
I'm here to support Boston. I'm
Oh,
number
okay.
4.
Make sure we have a list, but you weren't on the list. Just wanna make sure.
But I enjoyed listening to some of them. Were not all that enjoyable. It's hard to listen to, isn't it?
Sure.
Lots of needs in our county.
We wait for Andrew, or we just say no, we're done.
You won't have to hear. it.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, thank you for everyone for coming and presenting. And we'll take this into consideration and we'll start developing our budget for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You all did a good job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.